lobbyist.
Lobbying means representing your interests to politicians in government, in Berlin, or at the EU in Brussels. That is where the important decisions are made that concern all of us. Decisions about our environment, the economy, and much more.
What sorts of interests are represented there?
Well, the specific concerns of citizens or companies. We've all got our own interests, and they don't always coincide with other people's or what you would call the common good. More and more decisions are no longer being made here, but at a higher level, so to speak, at the state level. In Berlin for the Federation, or even in Brussels for the entire EU. And a lobbyist's job is to try to convince a politician of particular points of view.
And how does he do that?
A lobbyist tries to find good factual arguments in favor of his position, to convince the people who ultimately make the decisions. Such arguments don't always just fall into your lap. So a lobbyist has to work hard, researching, analyzing, and putting down the collected arguments on paper. After all, arguments only will be listened to if they are completely watertight. You know, lobbying is more important than ever for citizens and companies in present-day Europe. More and more political decisions are now made not at the national level, but at the European level. It makes sense, therefore, to bundle up people's interests and arguments and take them to the politicians. That way, you increase the chance that your own interests will be taken into account in political decision-making.
And who does all the lobbying in the EU?
It's done by very different people from every conceivable background. Lobbyists from industry and commerce are probably the best known. For example, associations and big companies. Almost every sector now carries out lobbying, but environmental, human rights, and social organizations also use lobbying as the best way to make their voice heard in politics.
So really, anybody can perform lobbying?
Theoretically, yes. In a democracy, everyone is called on to cast their vote, voice their opinion, and stand up for their interests. But in practice, it's very difficult to start from nothing. Seriously representing your interest takes a huge amount of work. There's all the research, analysis, and paperwork, which is not trivial. At the same time, you have to know who to approach and with which questions and when. And the structures in Brussels are fairly complex. If you don't know your way around, you won't get far in the EU, however good your arguments are.
That sounds good. Even if it's a lot of hard work convincing others of your own point of view. And I don't need to start in Europe if I want to represent my interests. It's better to leave that to the professionals who know what they're doing.